Last thing I'll just ask you about the UFC 300 main event. You talked about all the drama that it took building up to it and all the options you looked at. Why did you settle on what you settled, and what are your thoughts on the fight?
I wouldn't say that I settled.
Decided on. No, it's an apology.
Yeah, listen, we were out there talking to lots of people, trying to make lots of fights, and in this business, it's about taking opportunities. Headlining UFC 300 with all the buzz and all the energy around it. Let me say this: Leon Edwards has had like 3 opponents throughout this thing. Leon Edwards doesn't say no to anybody. This kid is an absolute stud. He's had like 3 opponents thrown at him during UFC 300. Yes. Was willing to take on anybody, man. Kid's an absolute stud. Leon, thank you. Much respect.
Dana, going back to the guys that haven't taken that opportunity to get on the headline of UFC 300, why was that? Were they asking for too much money? Did they feel they had...
No. This was not about money. It was all about timing. We got 3 killer cards in a row, and in this business, you have injuries and all kinds of other bullshit that goes on behind the scenes. And we've been talking about 300 forever, and we were just trying to make the best fights that we could possibly make. We had 2 more fights to make, and we were trying to put on 2 badass fights. So these 2 guys are it. I mean, I'm sure if you saw the video, I walked through who they both are, what they've both done. Both guys are hungry. They both want it. No way that fight sucks.
In the past, we've seen for UFC 200, for Conor Aldo, we've seen these like epic trailers, sort of movie trailers. Do you think we could see one of them come back for 300?
Say that again?
In the past, for big events like Conor versus Aldo, you had them walking down the streets of Las Vegas. Do you think we could get one of those trailers for 300?
No, I have to, now that you said it, I guess, right? I got to figure something out.
You're welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
And you heaped a lot of praise on Leon Edwards there for his willingness to fight at 300.
Yeah.
What happens now? He's not going to be on the card, so is he wanting to fight soon? Are you trying to get him
I
at
don't,
301 or 302?
Yeah, listen, the guy's willing to fight 3 different opponents, and obviously if it was for UFC 300, it's 3 nasty opponents. This guy doesn't care. He'll fight anybody, and, think about this. We call, and we're talking about UFC 300, you're going to headline, you're going to fight this guy. Then we call back and say, the fight that's going to happen. You're going to fight this guy, right? And then the 3rd time we call and change opponents on him again. It's just crazy. And this guy could care less. He's up for the challenge. He's ready to fight anybody. I love it. Respect it very much.
So you sorted through a few different opponents for him. Where do you go back to next time? Is it still Bilal at like the top?
I have no idea what we're going to do yet. He's not fighting on 300 when we figure it out.
Yeah.
Then we'll...
And lastly, UFC 300, now that we have an official main event, what is the co-main event going to be?
The co-main event is the other championship fight on the card.
Thank you.
Yep.
In 7 UFC fights, Alex Pereira has become a double champion, headlined Madison Square Garden twice, now headlining UFC 300. Like, can you put into perspective just how big this guy is?
Yeah, and how fast he did it in such a short amount of time. 2 different weight classes, a guy coming from basically one style and being able to accomplish what he's accomplished here. Obviously, it was super impressive when Izzy did it, and now this guy did it even faster and in 2 different weight classes.
That fight's a little while away, but Jamaal coming back from Achilles injury, which is devastating for athletes.
Yep.
How do you see that fight kind of going down?
I don't know. It's going to be. I'm friends with Kelsey Plum. Do you know who she is from the WNBA? She had the same injury. She came back and won MVP and won a national title. And he's been going to the PI. She recovered from that injury at the PI. So hopefully he's good.
Last 2 for me. Was Conor McGregor ever an option for UFC 300?
No.
And then lastly, I was just wondering if you would give a hint on who Leon Edwards was offered those 3 opponents.
I'll call you later.
Can I have one question?
Yeah.
Get over here.
Yeah.
So at the Power Slap press conference, you mentioned that the UFC 300 main event was in the works and another fight. So now we know Pereira and Jamaal are going to headline 300. So do we have an update on that other fight that you said was remaining to be confirmed?
We got 1 more to make. Yeah. No.
Okay. And similar to that video they were asking about earlier, at UFC 200, we saw a special colored canvas for that event. Do you think we'll see the same for UFC 300?
Probably, yeah.
For sure.
I haven't even thought about that yet.